I'm in?
Yep.
I'm on?
Yep.
I'm live?
You're live.
Holy God. Hey, everybody. Good to have you here, sponsors. Welcome to the Cat Cave. I wanted to show you around a little bit. Look at that. Oh, yeah. It's the Cat Cave. We are building the Cat Cave as we speak here. Here, let me take you over to the other side. And you can see, look at what we're building over there. All things Cat Cave related, man. So what's up, Tigress? What's up, Alexis Brown? What's up? What does that say? Ket366, Katie. And yes, it is cool, Tigress. It is awfully cool. Victoria Johnson is here. Hey, first of all, let me just thank you guys for doing this. You're the first crew of sponsors, and that means that we're going to have a pretty small group here. Will you tell Bobby that I'll do it when we're done here? Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's hopefully this is a community that will grow and we'll be able to do a lot of cool things together. Right now, it's all just us, man. And this is going to be an Ask Me Anything. Now, I'm going to tell you that in terms of the Ask Me Anything, it's not anything. So if you have to ask me a question that is about your cat, that's going to take you like 10 minutes to type and it's going to take me 30 minutes to answer, clearly we're not going to do that today because, it's going to take too long. And I want it to be able to benefit whoever's here and not just, me and you. Besides the fact that if you've seen my show, you know how I work. I go to your house and you feed me dinner and we hang out. And then I meet your cats, and then we hang out, and that's how I solve problems. It is very much a one-on-one type of thing. It's very much about me really meeting your cat, like hanging with them. I mean, we can get into the whole animal communication thing some other time, but that's kind of how I work. So that's it. We'll keep things. We'll keep things on the not so specific side. For instance, Nancy Lynn says, why do cats like to stick stinky butts in our face? That's the kind of question we can talk about. So the answer to that, and by the way, there's no way I can answer everything. I, unfortunately, am not omniscient. Anyway, but I do know about stinky butts in the face. And believe it or not, that's the epitome of the backhanded compliment, or in this case, the back-ended compliment. So what they're saying, it's an absolute, like, I trust you, I look at you as what? My mother, my maternal figure. Because as kittens, what they would do is they would eat or they would feed on mom. Then they would parade by mom. Mom then cleans their butt with their tongue and stimulates them to pee and poop or whatever. It just basically gets things going so they can then pee or poop. So by your cat parading by your face and putting the butt in your face, it's like, mommy, in a very positive butt back-ended way. So how you like them apples? Bet you didn't know that your cat actually wanted you to clean their butt. So onward. Katie, Mythical Beast, my cat's name is Bella. Okay. Hey, Bella. Let's see. Tigress asks me, how are your cats, dogs doing? Everyone's doing okay. It's been a pretty, look, we've got a lot of cats and dogs and a turtle, and there's always something going on. We have a number of feral cats who we consider our cats, but they are who they are, and they don't live in the house, to our great consternation. We've got some cats that are not social enough to be in the house. They don't want to be, but they live in our catio. We have a big catio around the other side of the house. But everyone, by and large, has been doing really good. A lot of guys, that I lost my girl Beloria not a couple of months ago, and she was 26, and my God, that was, at the same time pretty heartbreaking. But I know how lucky I was. 26 is up there. But otherwise, everyone's pretty happy and healthy. 4th of July sucked. Let's just put that out there. And if we had our way in this house, man, we would have outlawed fireworks a long damn time ago, because it's just, I mean, it was torture. It was torture. I mean, every animal in the house was completely freaked out. One of our dogs, Pasha, who came from Iran, he was terribly tortured. I mean, he was really not treated well, and he gets totally traumatized. One freaking M80, and he is in his crate for the next 8 hours. Won't take a piss. He won't eat. Won't do anything. And so that was bad. But I don't know if you guys had the same kind of a hellacious 4th of July, but man, there's certain things you can do to minimize the noise, but overall it was not a fun night in our house. It also means, like, till the end of time, I'm not going to be able to leave my house on the 4th of July because I'm busy doing sort of emotional triage. Let's see here. Kate says that she's looking for someone like me, a cat behaviorist, to come to your home. I can feed dinner and meet my cats. How would I start looking for one? It's a little hard, Kate. I mean, there's different organizations that certify people to be behavior. That said, honestly, you still have to vet the information pretty well. IAABC is one of those organizations, and there's a couple more to speak of. I mean, there isn't a surefire way to do it. If you want to shoot me where you live, or just the general city or area where you live, Kate, I'll see if I know anybody there, but unfortunately I don't know off the top of my head. Tigress says, my book cover photo is priceless. I assume that you mean the new book, Total Cat Mojo, and that's the cover. If we have a copy of that around? Oh, duh. Right back here. This is what we're talking about here, and that is Valoria. That's my girl, who, like I said, just passed. And it's actually a really cool story, because I was writing this book, and it was, I'd never wanted to write, like, cats for dummies or that kind of thing, or just the how to have a cat type of thing. And so it was looking at this picture that really told me that it should be about something else, that it should be about relationships, and it should be about making that relationship better. And that's why it's called The Ultimate Guide to Life with Your Cat, and not The Ultimate Guide to Fixing Your Cat, or whatever the hell it was. But I am really proud of this book, and I'm proud of it because, well, anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff in here, but there's also really cool cartoons, and we brought in like 4 different artists to give it. Here, let me show you an example. Like, I love this one here, explaining the yes/no technique here. So that's kind of cool. I was gonna say, let me take a look at some of these questions here.
You can scroll through too.
Oh, I can?
Yeah, you can go back too.
Oh, I can scroll.
Yeah. Oh,
there it is. You guys got to forgive me. You're the first. You're the first guys to do this. So let's see. How many cats are too many to have? Kitty Sweets says that. Well, Kitty Sweets, how many do you have? I mean, listen, the cats will tell you when too much is too much. I mean, unfortunately, when problems start to crop up, you have cats who never argue before, and suddenly they're arguing, or you have litter box problems where you never had them before. The cats will let you know when there's too many beings in the house. That said, I mean, as long as you're dedicating yourself to catifying, which is building vertically as well as building for them horizontally, then you're going to have a much easier time. I mean, it's the cats define their territory floor to ceiling. And so, I've known people who have had a 500, 600 square foot apartment and 3 cats, but that's because they can have they made the room for them. So I don't buy and I think also, Sweets, you may be talking about the whole, at what point do I become a crazy cat lady? I've known people who have 2 cats who are like, oh my God, I'm a crazy cat lady. I know people who have 12 cats who don't care, and they don't project that sort of social fear, so they're not perceived that way. Let's see. Kate says that she's Southfield, Michigan. Kate, one more question, because I don't have a map in front of me. Where is that? North, south, near Detroit, whatever. I probably won't be able to help you, but Kitty Sweets, 7. You have 7 cats. That's fine. I mean, as long as your cats are happy, then you're happy, and everyone else should be. I've known people with 20 plus cats. That said, they lived in a mansion, or they had so much room that they could create a dreamlike catio. It really depends on all that. Yeah, Kitty, you got 7 cats, 3 dogs, just like me. Let's see here. Going back here, going back. Let's see. How many cats are too many? You said that.
Oh, can you answer this one?
Oh, I have one that came in offline.
For Hollow.
Hollow Moonshine. That's a great name. I got a question for you. How do you walk 2 cats, especially if they're different speeds? I have 2 Toms, a white fluffy 1-year-old, and a black smooth coat. He's 3. I wouldn't do it. Honest to God. 2 walks for 2 cats. Don't even bother. I mean, it's not like walking 2 dogs. You have very little control that you can exert over the situation. You're not going to. The leads are going to get all kind of tangled up. 1 squirrel, and you're going to have cat from head to toe. 1 cat during each walk, and that is definitely the way to do it. I have a question for Mark about how does one become a foster parent? Is there training someone should go through a specific type of person? Really, and look, great question. If you live in a place where you can't really have a cat for their whole life, or you're in a situation where maybe you don't know where you're going to be in a couple of years and you don't think it's fair to the cat, fostering is not only is it an amazing, rewarding experience, but it's a lot of fun, and you are doing the job that needs to be done. Take, for instance, what's going on in LA right now. Shelters are full. At like the 4th of July, when a lot of animals get lost, then they're over full. So what they'll do here is call in any possible foster parent. Please take someone away from the shelter for a few days. I got a friend who did it, and I love the fact that dog, just for a couple of days anyway, not in the shelter, someplace else. But you can foster young ones. We have foster kittens in our house right now. Foster older ones who just need a little break from the shelter. Foster to physically recover from injury. It's a really amazing thing to do. Basically, to answer your question in a very long form, Mark, just go to a local shelter, local rescue group. Everybody needs foster parents. You'll probably go through a very cursory training just to figure out, what your baseline knowledge is and how to up that baseline knowledge. And every place is different, but I totally urge you to go through it. Let's see. Ket366. Oh, and Tigress also recommends the book. Thank you, Tigress. Can everybody see this, or is it just me that can see? No, but like they can see the whole chat.
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't have to tell you what other people are writing.
Oh, it's cool.
Oh, they can see it. Okay. If the question is too specific, just ignore it, says Kethri. I have trouble with hunt, catch, kill, eat with 4 cats. Playtime turns into staring, growling, hissing, swatting. That's a great point, actually. There's 2 different types of play. Now, there's play as a social group, which I think is really important. Roles are determined. There's guys who are just going to be much more aggressive hunters, ones that are going to hang back a little bit. It's a way for the cats to learn how to better interact with each other. But it doesn't really get through what we want, which is hunt, catch, kill. There's almost no way to have 4 cats in the same play session and for everybody to get what they want out of it. My recommendation is that you have separate play times to fulfill that thing. So it could be just 10 minutes with each cat where they come out, they don't have to compete with anybody else, they don't have to pretend that they're trying when they're just trying to stay alive kind of thing. They can be dedicated players, and you can also, tailor that play session to the needs of that cat. Not to say that if you have a real scaredy cat who won't play at all, that they're too busy just staring at everything, then you can demonstrate to him or her how to play by having them watch other cats play, because that's how they'll learn as kittens. They watch their brothers and sisters, they join in, they hold back, they learn what are appropriate play techniques and what are not appropriate. So that hopefully explains that for you. Let's see here. My God, they're coming in. Let's see. Katie Mythical Beast says, I feed Bella a mix of cat bickies? You are clearly not American. What bickies? And fresh meat every day. Ever since I have been feeding her fresh meat, her coat has been really soft and really shiny. Hey, folks, if you ask me, the optimum diet for cats is a raw diet. Cats need to be eating meat, and that's it. You know, I mean, I subscribe to the 90-10 philosophy. 90% meat, which is to say fat and tissue and bone and organ, etc. And then the other 10% is just sort of greens, the kind of thing that you would find in the belly of a wild cat. I mean, not a wild cat, the belly of their prey. So if they're going to eat the mouse, they're also eating what the mouse ate, which is usually grasses and greens and that kind of thing. Let's see. Tigress is asking, in some episodes of My Cat from Hell, you've been to small living spaces. How do I know if two cats have enough territory? Well, like you saw on the show, I mean, once they don't have enough territory, they start getting in each other's faces. They start arguing over resources like food and beds. They just, look, you guys have all at some point, I'm sure, had a roommate that you were okay, you got along with, or sort of dealt with, or just kind of, put up with. But because you lived in a tiny little space, it might have pushed you over the edge because you just couldn't get away from that person. You know that vibe between two cats just as well as you would know it between two people. It's just that much. But the difference is with people, you can't just build vertically and get out of each other's hair. You can do that if you're cats. Let's see here. What else? Kate also says, by the way, my wife and I live by Total Cat Mojo, and it's so true that multi-cat homes take the rules and throw them out the window. Catification has been the best thing for us. Well, great, Kate. I'm really psyched to hear that. You do live near Detroit. Give me a few minutes. I'll see if I can think of somebody in your area. At the top of my head, I can't. But
You can type in chat if you want to type something out.
oh, okay.
If you need to.
Got it. Kate also asks, what do you say when someone says they want to declaw their cat? That's it. See that look right there? Hopefully that says it all. But if it doesn't, I'll tell people straight up. Now look, there's a fine line. I don't like to be that guy who yells and screams and veins bulging out of the neck, because nobody learns that way. I don't learn that way, getting in my face and spitting and whatever, and I don't think anybody else learns that way either. But I will make sure that you know from the get-go how I feel about declawing and how I feel about vets that declaw and how I feel about what cats are like once they've been declawed and how we should outlaw the whole thing. I'll let you know that. I'm just not going to yell at you about it. The other thing is, I know a lot of people who declawed in the past because they weren't given good information or they didn't have the information, and they feel terrible about it now. And so I don't want to make you feel worse. As long as you don't keep doing it, and as long as you pass on the education to a new generation of people about how they shouldn't do it, you have my respect and love. Kate, oh, you're from New Zealand. You still live in New Zealand? I got to tell you, we did a little tour a couple of years, and we went to New Zealand, and we went to Auckland, and we went to Wellington, and man, there was a moment where my wife and I were hanging out with some friends, and we both looked at each other. We were like, you know what? Maybe we should just get off the boat right now and just disappear into New Zealand for a couple of weeks because we loved it so much. And it sucks because I know that my chances of getting back there on the regular are pretty slim. But man, I had the best time there. And such great animal people. Everybody has cats. It was really cool. So yeah, at some point, Katie, let's go. Melanie asks, what litter do I recommend? Let's just look at it this way, because I don't like, unless I'm actually behind a brand of something, I don't shout about it. And I always want you guys to know that, like, look, if I'm endorsing something, you know damn well that I use it. So I don't want to just shout out a litter if I'm not endorsing it. That said, I would prefer that nobody use clay litter. I like natural litter. We've made immense strides over the past couple of years where we can get a totally natural litter that absorbs odor, that makes great clumps, that doesn't track very much, that checks all the boxes without having to resort to clay. And there's a lot of reasons why I don't like clay litter. So for me, it's natural litter, but it's got to check all those boxes. I don't want a stinky house any more than you guys do. Let's see. Victoria asked if I should always feed a cat after play as per the hunt, catch, kill, eat, groom, sleep pattern, or is it all right to play without food periodically throughout the day? Sure. I mean, you can have short play sessions and not feed. And also, I mean, I know a lot of people who will do the feeding right after play and then find their cats still have a lot of energy to play again. Rules are there to learn and to break. I think that when I was learning to be a songwriter, and my first teacher said, look, man, because I was like, I want total freedom. I'm going to write a 40-minute rock opera, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, dude, learn the rules, then you can break them. And that's what I'm saying here about the exercise thing. But the other thing is, sure, always feel like you can break out a toy and play with your cat without adhering to the rules of engagement. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd like to have those rituals built into the day. But man, improv is what life is all about. Teresa says that my cat Sassy was abused before I rescued her. Can I use the stress-free and trauma-free at the same time? The stress-free works great. She has asthma. I was also thinking about Easy Breather. What Teresa's referring to is my line of flower essence solutions, and which, of course, you can find out all about elsewhere, which is my website. But yes, see now, Stress Stopper, which is it's just sort of the general wellness formula that you can use as needed. So let's say it's the 4th of July and your dog, like mine, is freaking out. Every 10 minutes, you can give a little bit of the solution just to keep them calm. Now, in the same time, trauma-free is something to help. Let's use my dog, Pasha. Perfect example. Pasha comes to me as an abused dog. We start him on trauma-free. He gets it every day, prescribed. So it's in his food and it's his water, and I apply it to him, once a day at least, and it's just a base formula. Now, I'm giving him that base formula, and then at some point, the 4th of July happens. I give him Stress Stopper that day. So I'm not using them both for the same thing. It's not like I'm trying to make one better by using two. I don't want to do that. But to complement your base remedy with something that you use as needed is a great thing. Tigress Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, you eat vegan, me too, and I really want to have cats, but who am I to decide who gets killed and who gets fed? Tigress, that's an amazing question. Gotta say that for anybody who loves all animals and who adheres to a vegan life, feeding your cats is not the easiest thing in the world. In fact, it's a very hard thing. It sucks. And you're right. The only way that we decide who eats and who gets fed, to be honest with you, we made cats. We brought cats into our lives. We made them into pets. We created this thing that needs to be fed meat to stay alive. That's it. Anybody who's out there who tells me their cat can eat a vegan diet is full of shit altogether. I mean, yes, you can replicate most of the ingredients from a vegan diet to call it good for carnivores, but it's not. And there's a lot of it that I can go into that I won't right now. But the bottom line is we have a responsibility because we created this. And that's why. My hope is in the coming years, we're going to see a revolution based on what we call clean meat, which is lab-raised meat, where animals don't have to die in the millions in order to create food for others. And that, I think, will be coming down the pike soon, where we can create cat food that is carnivorous, that's not causing the unnecessary suffering. But that said, great question, which there is no clean answer for. Thank you, by the way. Kitty asks, is pine litter toxic? No. I don't think it's the best thing in the world because it's got such a strong odor to it. And cats are so sensitive from an olfactory standpoint that why would you want to pummel them with hard scent when you're trying to get them to use that area and you're trying to get them to establish their scent in that area? That's why I'm so against any kind of scented litter. The concept is so ridiculous to me. I mean, it works for us because there's no chance that we're going to smell pee and poop, but it doesn't work for the cats, I don't think. Let's see. Wait, what is this? Sometimes, wait, what is Katie saying here? Let's go back here for a second. Katie's saying something about Uncle Jackson. What is she saying? Sometimes I refer to you as Uncle Jackson when I talk to my cat. That is pretty sweet. Yes. Catherine says that me and my partner recently learned from our vet and the tests we had made that my boy has, what is that? Eosinophilic gastritis? I have never seen that word before. I mean, I know what gastritis is, but that's why I'm not a vet. Yeah, I mean, if any of the products from my website could help, I mean, I do believe that Happy Tummy, it will help anything where we're talking about a GI issue. But, and you know, it's funny because I was just describing this to people today because people just don't understand what flower essences are. Oh, there we go. Just grab one. There we go. Stress stopper. So that's just so everybody knows what we're talking about here. That's stress. Good God. That's stress stopper. We have another 25 or so formulas that talk about very specific things. Now, flower essences are what we call energetic medicine, which is to say they don't address the physical body. They address the etheric body, the energetic body. We know that stress, for instance, is a great contributor into physical disease. There's other environmental and emotional components that could also affect the physical well-being of a cat. That's where these formulas come in. Happy Tummy was formulated basically to address the specific stresses in animals that could result in gastric upset. That is not to say that this should be your only modality that you use to help your cat's GI issues, but it is going to help. It's going to be a great complement. So there you go. Doopy 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 doo. Could I talk about the dangers of constipation and dry stools affecting the colon in their early years? My 12-year-old bottle baby just had to go to the Rainbow Bridge. She was screaming in pain. Robin, that's horrible. But that said, it's a very wide-ranging thing there. So I mean, look, I am horribly sorry. It does speak to how a raw diet will help offset some of the problems that you just mentioned, or at the very least a wet diet. I am, as you guys know, if you've watched me for any length of time, not a fan of dry food. I don't think the cat should be eating dry food. And that could be one of the upshots of it. Donna asked me if raw is the best way for Buddy to lose weight. How do I do it? I also have another male cat named Ebony who does not need to lose weight. It's not about losing weight. Losing weight is a great side effect to the body getting exactly what it needs to thrive. But there's all that other benefit, which is your body is getting everything it needs to thrive. If we knew as humans there were very specific things that if we ate every day, we would live our best selves. Now, obviously, everybody has different opinions about this, but for cats, it's meat. Now, you can say, well, the kibble I'm feeding my cat is meat, right? Okay, at some point it might have been meat. They could call it grain-free. it's a nugget. And in order for that nugget to look the way it does, we have to heat it up to the point where all the natural benefits of meat are gone because you've made it into a Cocoa Puff, right? So if you're going to feed your cat meat, feed them meat. Don't beat around the bush. But in terms of introducing your cat to a raw diet, what I would recommend is that there's plenty, by the way, of pre-made complete raw diets out there now. It's a thing. I mean, it's amazing how many brands there are out there. If you buy it in the refrigerated section, for the most part, you know what you're getting. And usually what you do, because cats don't like refrigerated things, they don't like cold things, they like them best if they're room temperature, or more optimally, if you heat it up to the point where it is the body temperature of one of their prey, like mouse body temperature, right? So while you're trying to transition, one of the best things I can tell you to do is to take the raw, put it into a pan, heat it up for a very short amount of time until it raises the temperature to about 100 degrees or so, unlocks the scent to it, add a little bit of water to it to make it just a little more attractive, and feed it that way. And then over time, you can take a little bit, less and less of a cooking out of it until it becomes raw. And also, by the way, don't do it like one day you're feeding raw. It's a slow process. If you do it too fast, you're going to wind up with explosive kitty diarrhea everywhere. You have been warned. Kate also says, by the way, Jackson, the customer service you have at your company is amazing. You should know that I have never had a better experience. That's amazing. And just so everybody knows that Kate is not a plant. That was actually that's amazing. I'm really stoked on that. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, Kitty Sweets asked about probiotics. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Probiotics are a great thing to add to any cat's meal. Let's see. What else? Dumpty dumpty dum. Sorry. There's lots of stuff here and I'm trying to get through it all. Oh, wait, what's that? Oh, okay, cool. Let's see. Hold on, guys. I'm catching up here. Catching up. What is that? Catherine says, do you have any tips or experience with cats that constantly search for food around the house? Lick utensils behind the sink, steps on you and begs when you're eating. You like to give him human treats. So again, this is one of those questions that I know you're trying to get around the fact that this is about your cat, and usually you would ask a much longer question. There's many reasons why your cat would be hungry. The first thing that you want to do is just make sure that it's not a health-related concern. A lot of cats will go searching for, subconsciously, of course, and primally, for something they're missing out of their diet. For instance, I've known cats who lick rocks because they're trying to get iron out of their diet. Honestly, we've seen that addressed in fixing their diet. So there's that. And if you're giving them human treats, for instance, if you're giving them table scraps, they're going to beg more for those scraps because you give in and you give them the scraps. Now they're getting more and more, insistent that you give them those things, right? Anyway, I mean, you got to watch out for your cat training you because that happens quite often. Believe me, I've been a victim of it many times. What else we going on here? Victoria says, I 100% agree with Kate about your customer service. Oh, wow. And then Robin says it too. You know what? That's amazing to hear, guys. I'm really stoked on that. It's good to know. One of the hardest things about as my business got to be bigger than just me, because I mean, for how many years? Look, I've been working with cats for 25 years, in the shelter, out of the shelter, on my own. The essences, I mean, up until what was it? Let's say 10 years ago, I was still making the essences. They all come from this bottle contains anywhere between 15 and 20 different flower essences from around the world. And so that's me sourcing those essences from around the world, buying them, putting them in jugs all over the house, creating the formulas, bottling the damn things, labeling them, sending them out around the world. I was doing that by myself, and sometimes I would get somebody to help me. But man, I mean, and to go from that to where we are right now, which is, a much different place, every step along the way, you have to sort of let go. You have to release the control that you have over every aspect of your life. And that is hard. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. That's hard. I mean, obviously, as you guys are saying, with all the customer service thumbs up that I'm getting here, we're doing a good job. And that's something that we've worked really, really hard over the years to attain. So I'm stoked. Let's see. How do you stop cats using a garden as a litter box? Well, there's so many things there. Number one, if your cats are outdoors, they're going to be drawn to topsoil. They're going to be drawn to dirt. There is nothing you can do to prevent that, unless, of course, you can put some kind of deterrent around the garden. You've seen on the show that I'll use things that just spritz water or spritz air even when a cat crosses that sort of electric eye. You can do that as long as it's a 24/7 stimulus. So you have to make sure that it happens all the time. Because if you get squirted once in a while, like for instance, if people use those deterrents and they're sitting on this table, for some reason I don't want my cats on the table. You keep it here 24/7. If your cat jumps up on the table 10 times and they get that aversive spray 3 times, they're not going to make that long-term association that the table itself is not a great place to go. All they're going to know is randomly I get squirted, So the same thing goes with your garden. You can also use things like chain link or even volcanic rock to be put down on the garden where it's not going to affect the absorbency of the dirt itself, but when the cats step on it, it's rocks and they're pointy and they're not fun. And then what they're going there for is going to be deterred. You have to put a deterrent there if you don't want the cats to use it. And that's. What's your plans for this YouTube sponsor thing? I personally hope to get to buy that Bad Cat song. You will. I promise you. There's lots of things that you guys are going to get first that other people will not get, that I can promise you. The first of which being my new little talk show, my podcast called Positive Conversations. We're just taping that today, the first episode, and that will be out towards the end of the month, but we're going to premiere it first for you guys. So you get to see the podcast before anybody else does. So that's the first thing. We're going to do things like this that nobody else gets to see, sales at the store, nobody else gets. It's that kind of thing. I really do plan on building this out and making it a way to stay connected with you guys in a way that I just can't. I mean, if you've been to my Facebook, you know how hard it is. I mean, I'm lucky if I can respond to things on a semi-regular basis. I try to do it more on Instagram. It's a little more personal there, but man, even then, it's not easy. So that's what you get. More stuff. Let's see. Dumpty 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 dum. I'm sorry, I'm skipping all over the place here. What does that say? Kate comes back about, I think it's about the declawing. It was an older lady at the vet saying they weren't sure if they wanted to declaw while our boy was on his lead playing. We gave the same look and tried to explain, and then she got called back. I'm just trying to see if that's continued somewhere here. Oh, wow. We're getting a lot of stuff here. Look, just remember one thing. Education is key, and compassionate education is the king. We have to remember that nobody who has a cat, who is at the vet, who is spending their money because they love their cat, wants to torture their cat. They have just been told that this is painless, this won't affect the cat's life, and it'll save your furniture. If there's any bad guy in that, that's the vet who's trying to push the surgery. It's not the person who is trusting the word of that vet. So remember that we can always educate. We can always make for a stronger guardian base in this world and push for stronger relationships. But if it sounds like we're coming from the mountaintop and talking about it, forget it. No one's going to listen to you. It's got to be something where you come to them from a place of humility, but a place from, hey, I've got experience with this, so let me help you out here, kind of thing. It's a fine line to walk, but that's not to say we shouldn't walk it. We should definitely walk that line. We're going to be wrapping up fairly soon here because we're about 42 minutes into this thing. Let's see. Tigressa. Oh, I didn't see that. It's Tigressa or Tigresa. Let's see. How cats even learn to use litter boxes, what their thinking could be, right? Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's like, can you imagine that first time where they had all the world to pee and poop in, suddenly there's a box in front of them. And they're like, that? I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that we made that discovery, and more amazing that they use it. And then we get all pissed off because every now and again they won't use it. The fact that this is an animal who uses their pee and poop to denote territory that could be, 10 square blocks around, and now they're going in that box every single time, they must really love us, Let's see. I concur. Kate says, I concur with Alexis. I must have missed what Alexis said. What did Alexis say? Where are you, Alexis? God, I can't find it. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay. I concur with Alexis. We are on our third Jackson wand, 10th bottom, and yeah, they destroy the things they love. I'm sorry. It is true. Hey, listen, I won't be happy unless your cats totally destroy their toys. Let's see, what else here? Roberta asks me if I could talk a little bit about over-owning. Her cat Simba is an over-owner as well as an overly sensitive about being pet. I have a lot of vertical spaces, play with him every day. He still has some problems. As for you guys who don't know, the over-owner, aka those are cats that tend to guard things. They could be the ones who mark more than others because they don't believe that they actually have ownership of territory. So the one who owns it confidently, I call them the mojito cat. Those are cats who have true mojo, who are just like, yeah, man, this is my place, but it's yours too. Welcome to my place. Come on in. The over-owner is like, that person wants what I got. Well, I ain't going to give it to them, type of thing. Why do you do that? Is because you're not secure in the first place. So it sounds like, Roberta, you're already giving a lot of vertical space for your cat. You're already giving them a lot of added territory. And you're also saying, again, I don't know your cat, and it's very, very hard, but you're also saying that they tend not to like to be pet. So the hint I'm getting in there is not necessarily an over-ownership thing. It's an overstimulation thing. Cats who get very easily overstimulated are the ones who can't be pet, who can't tolerate it. Their body already kind of itchy and kind of, I would lay off the petting altogether. Let your cat come to you. Let them determine what kind of physical interaction they want, and they're not going to be as ready to blow at all times. There's a lot of cats who the petting actually turns them into what I call the cat grenade. You're pulling the pin on that grenade by petting, and it's a physical thing. It's not a behavioral thing. The hair follicle receptors in your cat dictate whether they're going to enjoy petting or find it like, oh, stop doing that, Anyway, I'm going off here. Catherine asked me if I ship our products outside the U.S. Tricky question right now, Catherine. We do. We're having some problems with our current sort of global state of affairs here, and we may not be shipping to the EU right now. Can't quote me on that, but best I can tell you to do is to go to the site. Donna says that both her cats have already been declawed. Is there anything special they need to help them compensate for no front claws? One of the things I would tell you, first of all, of course, is the smoothest cat litter you can get your hands on. You want something that's going to mostly resemble sand, so that it's not something that will affect their paws. They're also more likely to get arthritis later on in their lives, both in the paws themselves, the wrist joints, the elbows, the shoulders, because we're throwing off their entire way of walking, right? So instead of walking like this, they're going to walk flat. That throws off everything else. So later on in life, acupuncture, chiropractic, cold laser therapy, and also making sure that you're giving them plenty of things like fish oil, things to keep them sort of lubed up, glucosamine, chondroitin, things like that, because they're going to get stiffer as time goes on. So once you can, so some of those things you can head off at the pass. Some of those things you're going to just keep on hand as being necessary evils in terms of monetary output as time goes on. Let's see here. Oh, Alexa says that her message got lost. She was just thanking me for the wand prey toy, for the prey toys, the ground prey. Her cat Miles is obsessed with it, unlike anything that I've ever bought before. See, now that makes me incredibly happy. Catherine, by the way, shipping to Canada. Yes, we do. You know what? I have worked so damn hard on these toys, and they're getting better all the time, by the way. We're always making them better. And I rely on your input, by the way, to help change them. But I use them on the show. I'm always going, I should have done this. And then next time around, we'll make it even better. But the fact that I'm getting this kind of feedback on the toys makes me insanely happy. Let's see here. What do you do if you get overwhelmed about the sad situation of many, many animals in the world? I personally can't be an activist like Gary Yourofsky. I get really depressed. Listen, we all have our role to play in this thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to force yourself to watch graphic images of cruelty in order to do something for animals. I don't believe that at all. I think that you can do things right now that will help animals. You can stop eating animals, and instantly you will help animals. You can tell others about not eating animals. That doesn't ever mean that you have to watch footage of what goes on in the slaughterhouse. You don't ever have to visit a slaughterhouse. You don't ever have to immerse yourself to that degree. It's the same thing with animal welfare. Let's say that you want to do everything you can do for animals, but you just can't bring yourself to go to the shelter. That is not something that you should feel less than about. We all have different levels of sort of shield around us. Some of us are empathic to the point where we feel pain, and it makes it very hard to be in those situations. That still means that you can foster. That still means that you can donate. That still means that you can educate. That still means that you can advocate for TNR and for spay and neuter. You can do all of it without ever setting foot into that shelter. So there's always something, and I think really the big thing there, Tigresa, is not to judge yourself for what you can't do, but to take an opportunity to feel good about yourself for what you can do. That's the big thing. I love you too, Tigresa. Okay, folks, I'm going to have to call it a day on this. We are at the end of the line here. And Nancy Lynn says, butterfly in the ball is the bomb. I love that too. Alexis, thank you for what you're saying. Thank you guys all the way around. Spread the word here because there's plenty of good stuff coming your way if you're a sponsor. Especially, like I just said, we're going to have our first installation of Positive Conversations coming up, where we're going to be talking to people from the world of animals or music or entertainment or all the above, and get their take on what makes their life tick and how it applies to us as animal people. So until the next time, what else is Mark saying? I don't know what he's saying. Okay. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you. Thank you all. And I will see you very soon. Light and love and mojo. Mwah. Bye, guys.